Most people are busy trying to fix the world outside while their inner world, their thinking, their language, their belief systems in disrepair. And that's like trying to sail the ocean with holes in the boat. It's not the wind that determines your destination, it's the set of the sail. The same wind blows on us, all the winds of opportunity, of challenge, of change, but what matters is how you think, how you speak, and how you act in response. Think about problems, and you'll live in fear. Think about solutions, and you'll begin to attract answers. Your words are the echo of your thoughts, and your thoughts are the architects of your future. What you think determines what you believe. What you believe determines what you say. And what you say, over time, carves the path you walk. That's why the wealthy speak differently. They don't beg for wealth, they attract it. Not by magic, but by mastering the dialogue of the mind. You want a wealthy life? Then start with a wealthy vocabulary. Think strong, speak strong. Think solution, not problem. Speak vision, not complaint. There is no shortcut here. Mindset is not something you find. It's something you build. One thought at a time, one word at a time, one belief at a time. So tonight we're not here to talk about external tactics. We're here to talk about internal transformation. Because when you change the way you think and speak, you change the direction of your life. And that, my friend, is the first step to success. Now, when I was young and broke, I wasn't thinking about prosperity. I was thinking about bills, about pressure, about the next crisis. And do you know what kept showing up? More bills, more pressure, and a fresh crisis every week. I was planting weeds and praying for a harvest. That's not how it works. You can't sow thorns and expect roses. The human mind is fertile soil. It will grow whatever you plant. Plant worry, and you'll grow anxiety. Plant discipline, and you'll harvest results. It wasn't until a mentor pulled me aside and said, "You've got to take control of the picture show running in your mind." That hit me hard. See, most people live in mental autopilot. Their thoughts are reactive, not intentional. Something bad happens, and they replay it over and over again like a movie. But here's the problem. The mind doesn't know the difference between something real and something imagined vividly. Think about failure long enough, and your body starts responding as if you've already failed. And worse, you start acting like it too. But there's another way. What if, instead, you start thinking about solutions, about growth, about service, about building value, about becoming better? Suddenly, you begin to see things differently. Opportunities that were hidden before begin to appear. People start responding to you differently. Not because they've changed, but because you have. The rich, the successful, they don't spend all day thinking about what might go wrong. They focus on what can be done. They don't deny the problem. They just don't dwell on it. If you want to change your future, start by changing your mental diet. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Feed it with books, ideas, voices that lift you higher. Think about strength and you'll grow stronger. Think about success and you'll begin to act like someone who's meant for it. Your future starts in your mind. Build it wisely. Most people are trained from the beginning to think in terms of cost. They walk into a store, they see something, they need something that could help them grow, and the first question they ask is, how much does it cost? That's poverty thinking. That's survival mode thinking. And if you make a habit of it, you'll always be counting pennies instead of building fortunes. The question that changes your life, the one the wealthy have learned to ask, is not, what's the cost? But, what's the value? See, wealth is not built on price tags. It's built on the principle of value creation. You don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. I've met people who earn thousands an hour, and others who struggle to earn 10. The difference isn't time. The difference is the value. If you want to increase your income, increase your value. If you want to become wealthy, become a person of great value, because money is attracted to value. It's a natural law. Now, let me tell you something I learned early in my journey. I once looked at a seminar that cost $200. At the time, $200 felt like a mountain. My first reaction was, I can't afford it. But then I asked a better question. What's the value of the ideas I could walk away with? If I got one strategy that saved me 5 years of trial and error, what would that be worth? That shift from cost to value changed the course of my life. I paid the $200, sat in that room, and walked away with a new mindset that eventually earned me thousands. This is how wealthy people think. They don't spend money, they invest it. Whether it's books, tools, skills, or relationships, they're always asking, what's the return? What will this help me become? What value can I gain? Or what value can I multiply through this? They don't clip coupons on opportunity. Now here's the danger if you don't train your mind this way. You'll start avoiding the very things that could set you free. You'll reject the class, the coach, the business, or the investment, not because it wasn't valuable, but because you never looked beyond the price tag. That's how fear and small thinking rob people for life. Wealth doesn't chase those who count costs it flows toward those who create and multiply value. Start asking the right questions, and your life will change. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant there, whether weeds or flowers, will grow. And what determines what gets planted? What you read, what you listen to, and what you surround yourself with every day. You cannot grow a powerful, success-driven mindset on a steady diet of gossip, drama, and nonsense. Try growing an oak tree in polluted soil, it withers. The same happens to your future when your mind is fed garbage. Let me tell you, when I was broke, confused, and wondering why life wasn't changing, I took a hard look at what I was consuming every day. I wasn't reading books that expanded my thinking. I wasn't listening to voices that challenged me. I was feeding my mind crumbs, not power. Then someone handed me a book, a little book on personal development, and I read it. Slowly, thoughtfully, and something happened. I began to think differently. I started asking better questions. I started seeing myself not as a victim of my circumstances, but as the architect of my future. And that shift didn't come from chance. It came from changing the input. You've got to be careful with what you allow into your mental factory. Every day, your beliefs are being shaped by what you allow in. If all you listen to is bad news, you'll be filled with fear. If all you consume is entertainment, your life becomes one long distraction. But if you feed on wisdom, your decisions begin to reflect it. If you study philosophy, your life begins to carry depth. If you absorb stories of success and struggle, you develop the mental framework to rise and endure. So start feeding your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Read biographies of great men and women who built something from nothing. Listen to lectures that stretch your understanding. Take in teachings that challenge your habits and awaken your discipline. You don't need to spend 5 hours a day on it. Start with 30 minutes, but do it every single day. Because repeated input becomes permanent thinking, and permanent thinking shapes destiny. You want to change your life? Change what you're consuming. Replace noise with knowledge. Replace mindless scrolling with thoughtful study. Because your future is being programmed every day, and you are the programmer. The mind, like any muscle, doesn't grow strong by accident. It grows strong through repetition, routine, and structure. Just like you don't lift weights once and expect to be fit. You don't read one book, write one journal entry, or plan one day and expect your mindset to be unshakable. The sharpening of the mind is a daily task, not a one-time event. It's the repetition of small disciplines that builds mental clarity, emotional control, and wealth thinking. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. And it begins with a decision on quiet but powerful choice to stop letting life happen by chance and to start shaping it by design. I remember when my days used to slip through my fingers. Wake up late, no real plan, react to everything, end the day tired and unfulfilled. Then someone told me, structure your days or your days will structure you. That sentence changed everything. I began to create a daily rhythm, wake up with a purpose, read something of value, reflect for 10 minutes in silence, jot down my thoughts in a journal, and plan my top priorities. At first it felt strange, but within a few weeks, something incredible began to happen. I felt stronger mentally, clearer, more certain of myself. It wasn't magic, it was discipline. It was structure. The mind loves boundaries. It thrives when you give it a clear frame to operate within. Without it, the mind becomes scattered, anxious, unfocused. But when you give it direction each day, it becomes a sharp tool for creation, not a wandering machine of doubt. So start small. Wake up just 30 minutes earlier. Use that time to read something that lifts your thinking. Write in a journal what you learned, what you feel, what you intend to do. Reflect quietly, even for 5 minutes. Plan your day. Don't just hope it goes well. Design it. Discipline isn't about being rigid. It's about being intentional. And when you're intentional every day, the mind gets stronger. Doubt weakens. Confidence builds. And soon, you begin making better decisions, building better habits, and attracting better results. The man or woman who builds daily discipline builds an unbeatable mind. Not overnight, but day by day. Quietly, steadily, intentionally. Because structure doesn't restrict freedom, it creates it. If you want to know what's going on inside someone's mind, just listen to how they talk. Words are not just sounds, they're indicators. They reveal the health of a person's thinking, their vision, their confidence, or their lack of it. But more than that, words are builders. They don't just reflect what we believe, they reinforce it. The way you speak shapes the way you continue to think. If you speak like a victim, it's too hard, it's not fair. You're wiring your mind to look for excuses, not solutions. That kind of language doesn't just reveal weakness, it cultivates it. I used to hear people say things like, I could never do that, or that's just the way life is, and they believed it. They thought they were just expressing truth, but really they were handing power over to circumstances. And day after day, as they repeated those phrases, their identity took the shape of their words. They became what they kept declaring. That's why if you want to change your life, you've got to change your language. Start speaking with intent. Replace I can't with I will figure it out. Replace I hope with I plan. Say I'm building something, even if it's just in its early stages. When you speak with clarity and power, your mind has no choice but to rise to the level of those words. It begins to see new possibilities, act with more certainty, and demand more from itself. I remember when I made a decision to eliminate weak phrases from my vocabulary. I stopped saying I'm trying and started saying I'm doing. I stopped saying we'll see and started saying I'm making it happen. That shift in language became a shift in mindset. I didn't suddenly become a millionaire, but I started thinking like one. And the world responds very differently to a person who speaks with conviction than to one who hesitates and doubts. So if you want to lead your mind in a better direction, lead your words there first. Don't let your mouth speak against your goals. Use your words to build, not to break. Speak with strength, and the mind will strengthen. Speak with vision, and your actions will start to align. Because success doesn't start in the bank account, it starts in the language you choose to use every day. I learned long ago that the mind doesn't just follow instruction, it follows image. It follows the picture you hold in your mind most vividly, most emotionally, and most consistently. You can tell a man what to do, but unless he sees it, unless he feels it, he won't be moved to act. That's why one of the great disciplines of success is the discipline of visualization. You've got to see the life you want, not vaguely, not someday, not maybe. You've got to see it so clearly that it begins to pull you toward it like gravity. Now, most people use their imagination against themselves. They imagine failure, they rehearse problems, they picture worst-case scenarios until their whole inner world becomes a gallery of fear. And then they wonder why they hesitate, why they procrastinate, why their confidence dries up. It's because the mind can't act boldly toward what it dreads. But change the picture, and you change the emotion. You start to move with energy and direction. I remember when I first began to practice this truly visualizing not just things, but the feeling of success, the experience of living my ideal life. I didn't just picture the house, I imagined walking through it. I didn't just think about financial freedom, I saw what I would do with it, who I would help, where I would travel, what I would build. And I didn't just see it, I felt it. The joy, the pride, the peace of a life well designed. That emotion is fuel. That clarity is power. But visualization isn't magic. It doesn't mean you sit around daydreaming and expect life to hand it over. No, it's a tool of alignment. When your vision becomes that clear and that emotional, your actions begin to shift to match it. You start reading the books that sharpen your skills. You start saying no to distractions that pull you off course. You walk taller, speak clearer, act bolder because your subconscious now believes this vision is real and it starts doing the work to make it so. So I say take time each day, even just a few quiet moments though, build that image in your mind. Make it rich with detail, color it with emotion, and visit it often. Don't let your dreams remain blurry. Bring them into focus until they start to imprint themselves on your reality. Because what the mind sees with emotion, the life eventually reflects with action. I've seen many good people who wonder why they feel stuck, why their dreams seem just out of reach. Often, it's because they are letting their minds be invaded by things that drain energy and kill creativity. The television programs, the social media scrolls, the conversations that complain and blame these become weeds choking the potential in your mind. But when you deliberately choose your inputs, when you read books that teach, listen to ideas that inspire, surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, you begin to cultivate a mental diet that fosters success. In my own life, I learned early that if I wanted to change my circumstances, I had to change what I allowed into my mind. I started reading philosophy, biographies of successful people, and teachings about personal development. I listened to speeches that fired up my spirit and challenged my thinking. I made a habit of seeking wisdom instead of just entertainment. And slowly, my thoughts changed, my vision sharpened, and my actions aligned with a greater purpose. Think of it this way. If you ate only fast food and sweets, you'd probably feel sluggish and unwell. If you feed your mind with shallow or negative content, your energy and enthusiasm will decline. But when you feed it with nourishing ideas, practical strategies, and uplifting stories, your mindset strengthens and your confidence grows. It's no coincidence that the wealthy and successful guard their mental diet carefully. They know what they consume determines what they become. So be vigilant. Guard what you allow into your mind as fiercely as you guard your body. Fill it with knowledge that empowers, with inspiration that ignites, and with challenges that push you forward. Turn off the noise that numbs your ambition and dulls your senses. Remember, you are what you feed your mind every day, and your future depends on it. Each new day offers a fresh chance to build, to grow, to redefine who you are. But here's a truth many overlook. Your mindset isn't a one-time setting. It's not something you fix once and then forget about. Your mindset is like a garden that requires daily tending, a house that needs regular maintenance, or a tool that must be sharpened before every use. Without that daily renovation, your mental clarity dulls, your focus wanes, and your drive diminishes. Think about it. Just as you wouldn't expect your body to stay healthy without daily care, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower, your mind demands the same respect and upkeep. If you neglect it, it becomes cluttered with doubts, fears, and distractions that slow down your progress and cloud your vision. You may start your day with ambition, but end it weighed down by negativity or distraction. The difference between those who achieve success and those who don't often lies in the daily habit of resetting the mind. In my own journey, I realized this principle early on. Every morning, I committed to renewing my thoughts, refocusing my goals, and reminding myself of my purpose. I treated my mindset like a daily ritual, something essential and non-negotiable. I would read inspiring passages, reflect on my goals, visualize success, and choose the attitudes I wanted to carry throughout the day. This wasn't just about motivation. It was about resetting the very foundation on which my success would be built. When you rebuild your mindset daily, you become more resilient to the setbacks and challenges that are inevitable on the path to success. You don't carry yesterday's failures or worries into today's opportunities. Instead, you approach each morning with a clean slate and renewed determination. It's like wiping the fog off a mirror so you can see your reflection clearly and move forward with confidence. Remember, success is not an event. It's a process, and that process requires daily attention. The life you want isn't created by chance or once-off effort, but by the continuous commitment to refresh your mind, sharpen your focus, and steer your thoughts toward your goals. If you want to build wealth, happiness, or any form of success, Start each day by cleaning the slate, renewing your mindset, and stepping forward with clarity and purpose. Your mindset must be rebuilt daily. This is the secret of lasting success. Every negative thought that sneaks into your mind is like a termite quietly chewing away at the foundation of your success. If you allow those thoughts to linger, they begin to weaken your confidence, your vision, and your motivation. Before you know it, what was once a strong, solid mindset becomes riddled with doubt, fear, and limitation. That's why it's absolutely crucial to challenge negative thinking the moment it appears. Don't give it a second to settle in. You see, thoughts are powerful, but they are also like seeds. Plant a seed of negativity and you'll grow a tree of failure. Plant a seed of truth and you'll cultivate a forest of success. The difference lies in your response. When a thought says, "You can't do this," or "This will never work," recognize it for what it is, a lie. Your job is to stop that thought dead in its tracks and replace it immediately with truth, clarity, and strength. Say to yourself, "I am capable. I will find a way. This challenge is an opportunity." I remember in my early days when I faced countless setbacks. Those negative thoughts tried to take hold. But each time, I fought back by reciting the truths I had learned, focusing on the principles of success I believed in. That mental discipline kept me on course, helped me avoid the trap of discouragement, and strengthened my resolve. Over time, it became easier because my mind was rewired. The habit of replacing lies with truth became automatic. You must understand your brain is incredibly adaptable. When you consistently reject negative thoughts and replace them with empowering beliefs, you physically reshape your brain's wiring. You build new neural pathways that support confidence, clarity, and positive action. This is not just psychology, it's a practical strategy for success. If you allow negativity to fester, it erodes your mental strength and drags you down into mediocrity. But if you confront it immediately, you maintain a mindset that propels you forward. Remember, success isn't about avoiding negative thoughts. Altitude everyone faces them. Success is about how quickly and effectively you challenge and replace those thoughts with empowering truths. Don't wait for negativity to spread. Interrupt it at the start. The quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life. Guard your mind fiercely and feed it only the truths that build your future. Challenge your negative thinking. Immediate. That's how you protect the foundation of your success. The company you keep has more power over your mindset than you might realize. Your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs the conversations, attitudes, and beliefs of those around you. If your circle is filled with constant complainers, naysayers, and those who see obstacles instead of opportunities, you will find yourself slowly adopting their outlook. Their pessimism becomes your soundtrack. Their doubts creep into your thoughts, and before long, your mindset shrinks rather than expands. I've learned over the years that if you want to elevate your thinking, you must be intentional about your associations. Success is contagious, but so is negativity. When I first began my journey, I made it a point to seek out people who were thinkers, builders, and doers, those who challenged themselves daily, who spoke of possibilities, and who acted with purpose. Their energy lifted me, their ideas expanded my horizons, and their discipline rubbed off on me. It wasn't just about networking, it was about being in an environment where growth was the norm. It's important to understand that your mind adapts. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, yes, but it's not just a number. It's the quality of those influences that shapes your daily thoughts and decisions. If you're surrounded by those who are always talking about what can't be done, you'll struggle to think big or take risks. But if you immerse yourself in conversations about innovation, perseverance, and success, you begin to see solutions and opportunities that others miss. This principle isn't new. It's as old as human nature itself. People have always gravitated towards groups that reflect their mindset, but what's powerful is realizing you can choose your tribe consciously. You don't have to settle for the company you've had in the past. Seek out mentors, colleagues, friends who embody the mindset you want to develop. Their words will inspire you, their habits will challenge you, and their beliefs will empower you. I remember times when I had to distance myself from familiar company that was holding me back. It was uncomfortable at first, but necessary. Growth demands sometimes that we outgrow our old circles to avoid being pulled back into complacency or negativity. The mindset you want to build will never flourish in an environment of excuses or fear. Guard your circle like you guard your most valuable asset, because it is. The thoughts and words you hear most become the voice inside your head. Surround yourself with those who speak success, think growth, and act boldly. Your mindset will not only expand, it will transform, and with it, your life. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this truth. Your mindset is the soil from which your success will grow. It is not something fixed or given at birth. It is something you cultivate, nurture, and protect each day. The thoughts you entertain, the words you speak, the company you keep, and the habits you build all sow seeds in this fertile ground. What you choose to plant, that is what you will harvest. Success does not happen by chance. It happens by choice. You choose the thoughts you think, the language you use, and the people you surround yourself with. You decide whether to feed your mind with excuses or with empowering truths. You decide if you will rise each day committed to sharpening your discipline, expanding your knowledge, and mastering your emotions. All of these small daily decisions add up, and they define the trajectory of your life. I want you to understand this. Clearly, wealth, fulfillment, and success are not reserved for a lucky few. They belong to those who take ownership of their mindset and actions. They belong to those who refuse to be prisoners of fear, doubt, or negativity. They belong to those who choose to think and speak their way to a better life. You can be that person. But it requires work. It requires daily effort. The mind must be rebuilt each morning, like a fortress reinforced against the storms of life. When you catch a negative thought, you must confront it and replace it with something stronger, clearer, and more empowering. When you face fear or hesitation, remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Now, I challenge you starting today, make a commitment to develop your mindset for success. Set aside time every morning to think intentionally about your goals. Speak words that build you up rather than tear you down. Surround yourself with those who elevate your thinking. Read and listen to material that stretches your mind. Take disciplined, consistent action, no matter how small. Your future will reflect the quality of these daily improvements. This is not theory. It is tested truth. I have seen it work in my own life and in the lives of countless others who choose to think, speak, and act their way to wealth and success. So, the question now is, what kind of mind will you feed? What language will you speak? What company will you keep? What habits will you build? Your destiny depends on these choices. Choose wisely. Choose boldly. And remember, success is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey that starts with the way you think and speak today. Now go forward with confidence and commitment. Build your mindset, and wealth and success will follow.